Tonight really is about everyone in the room. And although politics informs why we're here tonight, as we saw from the film, it's really not about politics. It's not about if we're Democrat or Republican, or if we're conservative, or if we're progressive. Very simply, from all of our different angles, we have come together for a common cause. We are all really lucky and really proud to live in the greatest nation on earth. And we know that there were no women in the room when our dear founding fathers wrote that all men are created equal. And we forgive them for that omission. And we can take it upon ourselves to be true to the real values and to realize the full promise of the great American values. Because we have got to have a country where men and women have equal rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness is a really interesting inclusion in the documents that define us as a nation. Jack Kennedy was asked to define it when he was president, and he described it as the exercise of skills along lines of excellence in a life affording them scope. That has meant so much to me my whole life. But look at what we found in 2008. That pursuit of happiness in this country could go to a certain point. But then there was a limit. There was a restriction. And that restriction was about something that is so essential to us. It's our gender. And something has got to cause this country to move away from any kind of discrimination based on gender. And that is really what we can do. We can do that in our personal lives. We can do that as individuals. We can do that together. And that is what the new agenda is giving us a vehicle to rally around. And the idea, and Amy says it, and many are saying it, that this needs to be a movement. I have come around to that. I'm not naturally a movement person. I didn't think I needed a movement. I thought movements were for people who couldn't do things on their own. I blithely went through law school and college, not thinking about sexism, not thinking about feminism, thinking that the women's movement was something that was out there but not relevant to me. I followed the sort of Ginger Rogers principle, that to be as successful as a man, just do the same steps backwards and in high heels. And then you'd have what they had. And I really believed that was the world I was living in. So I thought, until 2008. And there was 2008 with a person fully qualified to be President of the United States who was subjected to the most appalling sexism that we've seen in the two videos, and it was horrific, and we don't need to talk about it. But I'm not saying that sexism was the reason Hillary Clinton was not the nominee. That's a more complicated conversation. And it's not the issue. The issue is that the sexism was undeniable, it's totally inexcusable, and it went unanswered. The boys were right in that video. The media and the heavyweights of the Democratic Party, they remained silent. It was a silence that was convenient. The ends justified the means, and that's just not acceptable to me. And that is really why I am here tonight. Because for me, Hillary's presidential campaign woke me to a stain of sexism like Rosa Parks sitting on a bus showed how disgraceful racism was. And in this country, thank God, we don't accept language. We don't accept action that is based on racism. We rise against that as a society. But we saw in 2008, those social breaks do not exist against sexism. And that is just totally unacceptable. It's totally appalling. And Amy is going to talk about what the new agenda does in a broad social way, but I think we can all act. We can all act in our own lives. We're not going to be burning bras. We're not going to be, sensitive lunatics. Well, unless we really have to. But each of us can make a difference. Each of us can make a difference. And it can actually be quite fun to sort of stand up to a sexist wherever he or she is. It's really good. And it's good for everybody. And I can't help believing that if it were, Lehman Brothers and Sisters, that we wouldn't have had the collapse. Women around the table really do make things better. And the boys also were right that we can change the world. One person at a time, we really can change the world. We can get there if we begin today. We can get there if we help each other. We can get there if we always remember that America is a nation of dreams and miracles. We can get there if we think that that young woman we're mentoring might become CEO of Goldman Sachs, might become chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and might become president of the United States. If we believe that, we will make it happen. And it's just really important that when the next woman who we can support rises up, that she is there on a level playing field. And that win or lose, there's not sexism in the equation. And I really thank all of you for caring and nodding your heads and being there. And I know you have all been fighting the good fight. I'm really honored to be part of this tonight. I thank you. And I'm keeping you from dinner, so thank you very much.
I'm not going to keep you very long. I'm Betty Cotton, and I've been helping Amy along since that August meeting. But I also just want to say I was so taken when I met Lady Lynn. I don't know if you well, Lynn. I don't know if Jill, if you remember, but we were at a Hillary function. It was about really, literally, about before Mother's Day. It was an event at the Hilton Hotel, and Jill was sitting behind me. You were sitting in the row with Jill, and we said, we have to do something. We have to do something. And that was kind of the preempted talk, or if you can call it a talk, that we all said, yes, we have to get together after this. We have to really get our act together here, because this is not right. And that was the beginning of the Seneca Falls 2 meeting. And that's really when I had met Lynn, I think, before, but that was my first bonding with Lynn, and it was exceptional. And today, Lynn, we want to present you with our first Shining Star Award.